Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Geeta Sachdeva, Assistant Professor, National Institute of Technology, NIT Kurukshetra. In this part 2 of transaction analysis, I will discuss mainly game analysis and script analysis and concept of strokes and live positions in detail. To understand the meaning of script analysis, to understand the concept of game analysis, to understand the meaning and concept of strokes, to understand the meaning of live positions, and to know 4 types of live position in detail. Firstly, I will give you brief introduction about TA, transaction analysis. It is a method of understanding communication between people. TA is a system of analyzing and understanding human relationships. It was first developed by an American psychiatrist, Eric Berne, drawing on the theories of psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud. The transaction analysis theory of human nature and human relationships originates from data composed through 4 types of analysis: structure analysis, transaction analysis, script analysis, and game analysis. Script analysis or live script is one of the analyses in transaction analysis. It is an inner plan that governs the direction of one's life. We generate stories about our lives, what they have been and what they will be. It begins in childhood, where we make our perceptions about ourselves and of the world around us into a narrative about what we can and will do. These life scripts then carry on having a deep and insentient influence on how we live our lives. They affect the decision what we make. They regulate what we contemplate, we can effortlessly do and can never do. They form our self-image, and yet we rarely understand where they come from and even do not know what they occur at all. These life scripts are frequently stimulated and formed by parents and other family members whose life scripts were molded by their parents and so on. In this manner, we become a product of our family's history. Similarly, our scripts are also interlaced by cultural and national forces. See, there are frequently general shapes to life scripts that can be stated very easily. For example, if I say I am a loser or I must support, say the word, life scripts can be very comprehensive and they can be very unclear. They can be very authorizing, yet they can also strictly limit ourselves. As humans, we generate stories to help make sense of the world. These stories run through time like our lives. We put ourselves in the place of the central character or other players, feeling what it may be like. And the greatest story for each of us is the story of our own life. We continually retell ourselves about what has happened to us, rerunning the internal video and assigning good and bad roles to the numerous players in our lives. We also project into the future, speculating what might be. Life scripts are not all the identical, as they may also be significantly affected by individual events such as being dispatched by a teacher or intimidated by other children. These also are controlled by hereditary characteristics. For example, it would be rare for a shorter person to embrace being a basketball player in their life script. And beneath all this, often unrealized, is a great story that we made up long ago. These life scripts form our opinions and activities and stories we tell ourselves. If one's life script does not hold being a doctor, then he will never think about such a career or wish he could be one. Basically, script message can come from 4 points. First one is modeling, attributions, suggestions, and injunctions. Modeling are like noticeable ways adult and peer perform. Attributions like being told you are just like. Suggestions are clues and inspirations such as always do your best. and injunctions are demands to do or not to do the things. Next type of analysis is game analysis. Dr. Byrne defined a game as a continuing series of ulterior transactions that lead to an expectable results. Ulterior transactions are intricate transactions that include more than two ego states and send a masked message. In other words, we can say that if we are playing a game, we are trying to achieve something other than what we are extremely expressing. Game analysis is the act of perceiving and understanding what games are played, what the end fallouts will be, and how these games interfere with persons' relationships. There are some important game variables like how many players are being involved, the elasticity of the game, objectives of game, role of each player, and the advantages of playing the game. Generally, games are being used to define person decision, and therefore, game analysis is an important part of understanding our interpersonal relationships. It would be clarified with example of game analysis. First, this game needs two players, player 1 and player 2. Player 1 desired to lose some weight and state this to player 2. Player 2 would recommend, yes, you can join a gym, and player 1 would state that, yes, but I can't pay for gym membership. Next, player 2 would advise something like, you could eat healthier meals. And player 1 would reply, yes, I don't have time to cook these kind of meals. Next, player 2 might recommend, you could begin jogging around your neighborhood in the evening. And player 1 again would answer, yes, but my neighborhood isn't safe. It will endure until player 2 runs out of propositions. At this point, player 1 is a winner because he has effectively evaded all of the player 2 propositions. His final objective was to evade having to lose weight, even though he claims he desired to do so. A game is an acquainted formation of behavior with a predictable outcome. Games are played outside adult cognizance, and they are our supreme effort to obtain our needs met through, of course, we don't. These are learned patterns of behavior, and maximum persons play a minor number of favored games with a variability of different persons and in changing intensities. There are 3 degrees of game. First degree games are played in social circles, generally lead to small affronts, not major turbulences. Second degree games occur when the danger might be higher. It usually occurs in more close circles and finishes up with even superior adverse payoff. Third degree games comprise tissues damage and might end up in prison, hospital, and mortuary. Chris Davidson 2002 has claimed that word politics can include 4th degree game also, where the result over entire communities, countries, or even the world. Games vary in span of time that passes when they are being played. Some could take seconds or minutes, where some other take weeks, months, or even years. So why we play games? What are the reasons to play games? Generally, games are being played to structure time, to gain stocks, to maintain the substitute filling and the system of thinking, principles and actions that go with it, to comment parental commands and further the life script, to reserve the individual life position by verifying that others are not okay but we are okay, to convey a high level of stock exchange, whereas blocking intimacy and preserving distance to make people acceptable. There are many methods to stop a game, containing the use of various choices than one automatically uses. These methods are like cross the transaction by responding from a different ego state than the one the stimulus is planned to hook. Choose a concealed instead of the social message. For example, when an individual says, I cannot do this, I am useless, instead of saying, let me do this for you, rather say, it appears that you have a difficulty. What do you want me to do about it? The main message to the game analysis include a discount. There are further discounts at every phase of the game. By observing discounts, we can identify game invitations and solve them with choices. A discount is when we decrease, increase or overlook some facets of problems which would support us in resolving it. Like saying in a loud voice, "This is too problematic for me to do," so we automatically help them. Next is replace the game strokes. Loss of strokes to the child ego state means a risk to existence. We acquire a great numerous strokes from games, even if they are negative. Though if we do not get sufficient positive strokes or give ourselves positive strokes, we will go for quantity rather than quality of strokes and play games to obtain them. This loss of stroke is also a loss of excitement and the game has produced. Now, what are the strokes? Concept of strokes. Byrne explained a stroke as a fundamental unit of social action. It is a unit of appreciation when one individual identifies another individual either verbally or non-verbally. Byrne publicized the idea of strokes into transaction analysis grounded upon the work of René Spitz, a researcher who did founding work in the area of child development. René perceived that infants deprived of handling, in other words, not getting any strokes, were more inclined to emotional and physical problems. These infants lacked the fondling, touching, and handling that most other infants gained. Byrne took Spitz's observation of these infants, established theories about the requirements of adults for strokes. Byrne recommended that adults need physical contact just as infants, but have learned to substitute other kind of recognition in the place of physical stimulus. So whereas an infant needs cuddling, an adult wants a smile, sparkle, a hand gesture or other type of salutation. Byrne demarcated the term recognition hunger as this prerequisite of adult to gain strokes. Byrne also expressed that any stroke, whether it is positive or negative, is better than no strokes at all. For instance, if we are walking in front of our home and we see our neighbor, we will likely grin and say hi. Our neighbor will possibly say hello back. It is an example of positive stroke. Our neighbor can also glare at us and say nothing. It is an example of negative stroke. However, either case is better than no stroke at all. Concept of life positions. On the basis of transactions and scripts, children cultivate life positions that contains their concepts of self-worth and worth of others. Life positions are basic views about self and others, which are used to protect decisions and behavior. Decisions about oneself, one's word, one's relationship to others are conserved during the first 5 years of life. Such decisions are elementary for the preparation of life positions. Transactional analysis describes 3 apparent ego states. These ego states are parent, adult and child as a foundation for content and quality of interpersonal communication. Happy childhood, nonetheless, said Harris, many of us are living out the not okay feelings of powerless child, dependent on okay others for stroking and caring. At some phase initially our lives, we accept a position about ourselves and others that controls how we sense about the whole thing we do. And for an enormous of the population, that position is I am not okay, you are okay. This negative life position pulled by successful and unsuccessful persons alike pollutes our rational adult capabilities, leaving us vulnerable to inappropriate emotional reactions of our child and uncritically learned behavior programmed into our parent. By discovering the structure of our personalities, considering all decisions, Harris considered that we can discover the liberty to alter our lives. In the procedure of developing an identity, people describe for themselves early in life what the meaning of their life or existence is. Some people decide that they are okay and are going to have a good life, but many others choose they are not okay and will flop in same way. That anticipation based on a decision of life will be is their existential position. People can feel okay or not okay about themselves and others so that there are main life position. First life position is I am not okay, you are okay. Second one is I am not okay, you are not okay. Third one is I am okay, you are not okay. And fourth one is I am okay, you are okay. So first position explanation is I am okay, you are okay. This position is generally game free. It is a faith that persons have basic values, worth, self-respect as human beings. That people are okay is a proclamation of their spirit, not surely their behavior. This position is characterized by an attitude of conviction and candidness, a willingness to give and take, and a consent of others as they are. Persons are close to themselves and to others. They are no losers, only and only winners. Second position is I am okay, you are not okay. It is the position of individuals who allocate their glitches onto others and blame them, put them down and criticize them. The games that reinforce this position include self-styled superior, I am okay, who projects hatred and disrespect onto a designated inferior and scapegoat, means you are not okay. This position is that of the individual who needs an underdog to maintain his or her sense of okayness. Next life position is I am not okay but you are okay. It is recognized as a discouraging position and it is characterized by feeling destitute in comparison with others. Usually such type of individuals serve others, need instead of their own and regularly feel overloaded. Games associating this position contain kick me, games that support the power of others and disagree one's own. Last life position is I am not okay, you are not okay. This position is recognized as the position of hopelessness and frustration. Working from this place, persons have lost interest in life and might perceive life as a totally without promise. In this situation, person perceives the whole world as useless and hopeless. This self-destructive position is characteristics of individuals who are incapable to cope up in the real world, and it might lead to dangerous exclusion, a recurrence to childish behavior, and resultant in injury. An extreme condition of this state can lead towards suicide or death of themselves or others. In reality, each of us has a preferred position we actuate from under stress. The challenge is to become conscious of how we are attempting to make life real through our basic life existential positions and produce an alternative. Associated to the notion of elementary psychological position is the life script, a plan or life. An individual life script is an unconscious life plan prepared in childhood, strengthened by parents, justified by succeeding events, and winding up in a chosen substitute. This script, as we have seen, is established primarily in the life as an outcome of parental teaching and the early decision we make. Among these decisions is selecting the elementary psychological position or dramatic role that we play in our life script. Life scripts are comparable to a dramatic stage production with the cast list of characters, plot, scenes, dialogue, infinite practices. In quite a sense, the life script is a plan that tells individuals where they are going in life, what they will do and what they will attain. As per Dr. Byrne, through our primary communications with parents and others, we get a pattern of strokes that might be either supportive or disapproving. Grounded on this stroke pattern, we make a basic existential choice about ourselves, that is, we assume one of the four life positions just demarcated. This existential choice is then strengthened by message that we endure to obtain during our lifetime. It is also strengthened by outcomes of our games, records, explanation of events. During our childhood years, we also make the choices whether people are trustworthy. Our basic confidence system is thus shaped through this process of determining about ourselves and others. If we hope to alter the life course that we are wandering, it's supposed to understand the constituents of the script which to a great extent control our pattern of thinking, feeling and behaving. Our basic belief system is thus formed through this procedure of deciding about ourselves and others. If we hope to change the life course that we are traveling, it helps to understand the constituents of the script which to a large extent determine our pattern of thinking, feeling and behaving. So, in this module of transaction analysis, we have come to know that TA is based on this position that we make existing decisions based on past premises that were at one time suitable to our survival needs but that may no longer are usable. TA emphasizes the reasoning, rational and behavioral aspect of the therapeutic process. More exactly, it emphasizes the capability of the individual to modify decision and is apprehensive with toward increasing consciousness with the goal of permitting individual to make new choices, thus modify their presence. To achieve this goal, TA clients learn how to sustain three ego states, parent, adult and child, in which they function. They also learn how their existing behavior is affected by the rules they received assimilated as children, how they can ascertain the life scripts that decided their actions. Initially in life, every one of us fashions a script that we carry out, generally without consciousness. So, TA is designed to proper personal growth and change. It gives the opportunity to develop all kind of easiness to learn skill that can be applied to all the areas of life. It makes the therapy precious for helping to resolve a lot of types of problems, and it has been productively applied in wide variety of settings outside of counseling, including organizational training and consultancies, parenting, education and coaching. Essentially, transaction analysis can be used in any field where there is need for understanding individuals, communication and relationships. As a result, it is particularly useful where there are issues of conflict, confusion or where something is lacking. Relationship issues between families, friends and couples tend to benefit greatly as TA encourages clients to address problems that are built up over time. Byrne believed everyone has the capacity to decide what they want for their lives, and the therapy helps clients to recognize their worth and value in order to go about achieving these goals. So, in this chapter, there are some important points which must be considered, like TA is very useful to understand individual personality. It is really useful for improving communication and behavior. People in the organization must be acquainted with the concept of TA. I am okay and you are okay position is game free. Strokes are positive and negative both. I am not okay and you are not okay is a position of frustration. Thank you.